Snelling.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order for myself. Election of a chairperson. Is there a nomination for the chairperson for the Viroqua Area Schools 2019-20 annual meeting?
I, Mike Brendel, nominate Angie Lawrence to be the chairperson of the Viroqua Area Schools 2019-20 annual meeting.
Okay, introduction of the parliamentarian. Lloyd Hardy is here.
Oh, wait.
We don't need a second.
No, we gotta read the other part.
Everyone in favor, say aye.
No, Kim Little, move to close nominations and elect
Oh.
Angie Lawrence to be the chairperson of the Viroqua Area Schools annual meeting.
Thank you.
Second.
No, there is
Yes,
no second.
that one
There
we
is
do.
on close of an close.
Oh, I tried so hard. I read over this and over this and over this to not mess it up, and I still did.
Wait a second. Vote.
All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Introduction of the parliamentarian. Lloyd Hardy is here for the 31st year. Thank you, Lloyd. Designate district clerk to keep official minutes. Beth Bowles, thank you very much for keeping the minutes. Treasurer's report.
Okay, the treasurer's report is general fund receipts. 2019-2020, 14,100,249. 2020-2021, anticipated 15,030,569, with an increase of 930,320. General fund expenditures. 2019-2020, 14,342,699. 2020-2021 anticipated 15,030,569, increase of 687,870. Tax levy 2019-2020 5,326,525. 2020-2021 anticipated 5,412,677, with an increase of 86,152, and that percent is 1.62%.
Thank you for the treasurer's report, Amanda. Clerk's report.
Must be me, huh?
Go for it, Robert.
Oh, thank Beth for this. 2019-2020 clerk's report. Updated some curriculum to elementary school, middle school, English language arts, career and technology education, social studies, had some new high school courses, yearbook, and home and auto too. Updated job descriptions for curriculum, the instruction and assessment coordinator. That's a big word, coordinator for me tonight. Retirement. Wow. 60, 70, 79 years total service to the district with 4 individuals. Roseanne Marisi, teacher for 23 years. Peggy Wuscher, custodian, 14 years. Marlene Blatz, Title I teacher. She was also a grade level teacher for a while, for 20 years. And Kathy Scollin, a paraprofessional for 22 years. COVID-19. Do we have to talk about that? School closure, March 16th to June 4th, 2020 for the COVID situation. And the opening of the Bigley Pool postponed indefinitely for the 2020 season due to the COVID issue. New scholarship, the West Mac Memorial Scholarship. My health instructor. Many moons ago. Donations. The board was pleased to accept approximately $53,700 in donations during the 1920 school year. Our community, the Viroqua community, continues to provide additional support to our students through contributions from clubs, parent organizations, local businesses, and individuals. The board would like to express their thanks and appreciation for this generosity and the support of our students and programs. Big thank you to those folks. Maintenance projects, elementary school windows, plumbing upgrades, Bigley Pool area has a new roof. Right. There's Tom here. Where's Tom at? Hiding somewhere. He was. Okay, we hired Guy Levitt from the WASB for our superintendent search. And we hired Tom Burkle, district administrator, on July 1, 2020. And I thought he was crazy with COVID coming. Thank you, and welcome aboard, Tom. New administration, Kathy Reed, came back to us as Director of Student Services, and she started on July 1. Thank you for coming back, Kathy. And quiet guy over here, Pat Olbert, was hired as the elementary school Montessori principal, and he started also on July 1 of 2020. Board information, Viroqua High School seniors Josie Dobbs and Brooke Esther served as our Student Board of Education representatives for the 1920 school year. Marina App, Vicki Coppa, Angie Lawrence, Amanda Running, Matt Tubin, Dr. Keel Arnson, and Mike Rendell extended the State School Board Convention in Milwaukee the 21st and 23rd of January in 2020. When they came back, they shared a lot of information about the seminars they attended. In April, the referendum to exceed revenue limit by $550,000 for a 5-year period, non-recurring, passed. We wish to thank our voters and our taxpayers in the Viroqua Area School District for their support. And in April, Amanda Running and Matt Tubin were re-elected as board members. Thank you. That concludes the clerk's report.
Thank you, Robert. District Administrator's report, Tom.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting district administrator's report because I wasn't here last year, and what an interesting way to finish out the year last year. So as everyone knows, in March, the governor's orders closed down schools, and we, as well as all other districts in the state of Wisconsin, were put in a position to change our mode of education pretty much on a dime. Viroqua did have a couple of extra days, as I'm learning, but not enough to really prepare our students or staff adequately for that change. While that was unforeseen, it was also amazing from all of the stories that I've heard about people stepping up, as we saw across the country and our state. To the tune, within our summer program, we served over 157,000 meals this summer, which is absolutely amazing when you think about that number. That is just unbelievable to me. As we made that transition, we also, summer school, we had we hired Pat, and we said, Pat, go, and make summer school happen. And he did. And Pat, you did a very nice job, and I thank you for that. And it truly gave us some insight into the planning process while it was happening. And we did choose to come back to school in our cohort model. So our model, as you all know, but as I'll give a brief update here for the annual meeting, is to have full days of in-person education for our K through 6th grade. Our 7th through 12th grade are in an A-B model where Mondays and Tuesdays cohort A attends in person, and Thursdays and Fridays cohort B attends in person. I would say that this was a bold move in the area when you look at it, as we were the only school in the county that did this. We were also one of the only schools in the area to do this. Now, there are certain pockets within the state that did a cohort model. However, we did that. And to say that that was not a little nerve-wracking for a first-year district administrator to have nobody around us doing what we were doing was probably an understatement. However, after following the process with our DLT and after presenting it to the board, I felt completely supported. And while we have had some positive cases, what I would say is that and I just had a conversation before this meeting that the county is beyond thrilled with our model and the way that we're handling things. And so when the cohort model works the way it should, things go in a better direction. We already have seen one local school change over to our cohort model, and we will be seeing more local schools in the very near future doing that as well. And I think that not only signifies that I wouldn't say, hey, there's a right and a wrong decision, because there are none of those right now, as nobody has gone through this. But what I would say is that does validate, that we were, I guess, on the right track. And so this is not saying that we're stuck in this model forever. This is not saying that we are going to be here long term. But what I would say is we created the plan and we're living the plan, and I'm proud of that. And so as we move forward, the board approved their district goals at a meeting last month, and truly our job right now is to provide education to our kiddos in as safe a manner as possible, and we're going to continue to do that each and every day. And so I think that as long as we keep that as our true north right now for this year, I think that we can expect to see positive results. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. I personally would like to thank the board for their leadership during the 2019-2020 academic year, because of all of the transitions administratively, all of the additional meetings that we had, whether it be curriculum, budget, and facilities, because we had a referendum, as well as COVID. Everyone is kind, thoughtful, professional, student-focused, and it's an honor to work with all of you. And I would like to thank our administrative team that's here today. I know this is for last year. Those of you that were here last year, thank you for your dedication to our district with all of the additional meetings. Like I said, passing the operational referendum, that was a huge transition. Lots of additional time necessary in the evenings. Thank you all for stepping up to the plate, doing what's best for students and families in our community. So with that, thank you. And we will go on to, I entertain a motion to accept the minutes from 2018-19 annual meeting. Is there a motion?
Kim Little, so move.
Second.
All in favor, vote by, or any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Presentation of proposed budget and other post-employment benefit trust annual report. Mike Brendel.
Getting dark out here.
Glad I read my report earlier.
Just guess, Mike.
So, exactly, I am thinking that, LEDs. So the proposed budget presenting tonight was approved by the board at the August regular board meeting. No changes have been made. It's been published in accordance with the statutes in the broadcaster, and I'll just go through a couple of quick highlights. It is a balanced budget where we're projecting revenues and expenses to equal each other, so there would be no change in overall fund balance, but we would expect to see that the health insurance fund balance would go down a little bit, as we we're not budgeting for the full cost of what we're anticipating. Total local sources, 4,783,122, made up primarily of the local property taxes of 4,693,522. The difference between that and the amount reported on the taxes is $27,000 for mobile home taxes. Major source of revenue for the district is open enrollment revenue. We won't know that number until after the third Friday count is completed, and then again in January, but primarily in the third Friday count in September. That budgeted right now is $924,556 based on a per pupil amount of $8,125. Total state sources, $8,507,326, made up primarily of general equalization aid of $7,287,838, which is an increase from the previous year. Federal sources, $802,894, and other revenues, $8,000, for a total revenues $15,030,569. Instructional expenses of $7,300,392. Support service expenses of $5,187,837. Total non-program transactions of $2,542,340, made up of transfer to primarily the special education fund of $1,772,899 and open enrollment out based on the same per pupil amount with the projected number of students of $754,441. Total expenses $15,030,569. Fund 21 is where we're recording gifts and grants, not being required to be reported elsewhere. Revenues, no revenues being booked at this or recorded at this time, but expecting that we'll use the $19,000 of expenses. Fund 27 is our special education fund. Total revenue is projected to be $2,574,660, made up primarily of the transfer from the general fund for our share of the program, which would be $1,629,997, state categorical aid of $465,000, and federal aid coming in the way of the IDA funding and Medicaid funding, $442,694. Expenses have to equal that of the revenues in Fund 27, so expenditures $2,574,660. Again, pretty much made up completely of special education curriculum of $1,815,199. Looking ahead at the debt service funds, Funds 38 and 39, 38 for debt service on debt approved not through the referendum process, and Fund 39 is referendum approved debt. Total revenues projected $678,995, which is the property tax levies, and expenditures of $680,515. At the end of the 2021 school year, we're projecting debt indebtedness to be $2,260,000, which includes $110,000 in the non-referendum approved debt, $110,000 which will be expired on 4/1/2022, and $2,150,000 left on the building over at the high school, middle school, that project, and that scheduled payoff is right now 2024. Capital projects fund, we don't budget any revenues and expenses for that at this time. Food service, revenues and expenses, expenses are projected to exceed the revenues. This probably has changed since the August meeting. We'll do a budget amendment accordingly. Having not understanding exactly how our food service charges were going to be with the altered schedule and the hybrid schedule, we did project a decrease in our revenues. Now that we are feeding everybody and we're doing the meals at home, there will be additional revenues for that, and those revenues and expenses should be more in line with each other. But at this point, $560,782 of revenues and $687,155 of expenses. Community service fund, that's our Fund 80. Obviously, things look different last year. We'll try to budget the same as we did last year, $72,325 in revenues and expenditures of $68,100. Our package cooperative funds, which consists primarily of our athletic co-ops, but our Better Futures cooperative with the other neighboring school districts, along with our Carl Perkins consortium with West VR recorded there, $203,664 of revenues and $203,664 of expenses. Proposed property tax levy, as Amanda said, the general fund levy is going to increase, or projected to increase, $325,992 or 7.46%, where the debt service levy will decrease $239,840 for an overall increase of $86,152 or 1.62%. The total school levy is projected right now to be $5,412,677. Using an equalized value of $645,055,025, which is a 5.72% increase over the previous year's equalized value. We are projecting the mill rate to decrease 34 cents on the mill, or 3.88% increase. I have some pie charts and bar charts that you can look at. One of the things is right now the budget was projected with a decrease in our FTE, again, not knowing what the fall would bring. That number, it looks like from last Friday's count, should be closer to the 2019 amount. But because of the hold harmless and those things, it probably won't change the overall revenue limit calculation, but it may impact the state equalization in a positive way for the district. Property tax mill rates. If you look, we're going to continue our trend of decreasing mill rates in the Viroqua School District. As I'm at right now, the projected is 839. We do have our post-employment benefit trust. These are funds that were set aside by the district in an irrevocable trust to pay future post-employment benefits for district retirees. It can be in the form of health insurance directly. It can be in the form of implicit rate subsidy, which is the difference between what we would have to charge our employees and what we do have to charge our employees to cover the cost of covering the allowing our retirees to be on the plan, and also contributions to future HRAs so that the employees can pay for their health insurance. At the end of the year, we had 1,664,114.36 set aside in irrevocable trusts, earning interest and gaining to pay for those future benefits. Any questions?
Mike, you referenced the student count.
Yes.
You referenced the student count.
Yep.
Do you know what that is or not exactly?
No. Preliminary, just sending out some emails, Beth, if I'm not saying this wrong, but sending out some emails to get kind of in the last week or so where everybody was at. That number is closer to the 1,100, the 1,097 that it was previous year. But until we get the, all of our open enrollments figured where everybody is, it could change. It could change. Fair.
Do you have any idea when you might know what that number is?
The report's due to the state in 10 weeks. No.
Beginning of October.
Beginning
It takes a while for all the other school districts to report in as well.
Okay. Is there any other questions for Mike?
It will be set by the time we have to certify the levy after October.
That's what I was wondering. With all the movement, I just
Yep.
wasn't sure how complicated it was going to be. So that's the hearing on the proposed budget. Any other questions for Mr. Brendel?
Most of Fund 45 is the swimming pool.
Could you say that louder? I can't hear.
Most of the Fund 45 is that the swimming pool.
In Fund 46, Robert, we set aside 150,000 future capital projects. If you remember, we have that set up where we can get current year aid on a contribution to that fund and then use it for something that the board had identified in the capital projects fund. And that was 150,000 of that is included in that. And then there was some funds left over at the end of construction of the athletic fields that we've been using slowly as some maintenance things have come up. I think there is a bigger one on the horizon that should pretty much wipe that out.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve a resolution to authorize the Board of Education to establish the tax levy up to the full amount allowed under the state imposed revenue limits as is necessary to support the district. Is there a motion?
Amanda, so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Board of Education salaries reinstated to the salaries of the 2019-20 school year. Is there a motion or is there a second? I will make that first motion. Is there a second? Oh, I don't know that I can because I get money out of that,
You live in the district.
You can,
even though I financially gain.
yeah, you can.
I'll make the motion, John.
Okay, I'm gonna have John make the motion.
I'll
Is
second
there a
it.
second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion for the Board of Education members to be, oh, we already did, to be paid the actual and necessary expenses when traveling and the performance of duties as the board members and reimbursement for any actual loss of earnings not to exceed $75 per day when required by his or her duties as a board member to be absent from his or her regular employment. Is there
So
a
moved.
motion? A second?
Second.
Any discussion? I don't think we're going anyplace, but there we have it.
Yeah.
All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion for the Board of Education to authorize to sell any property belonging to and not needed by the school district. Is there a motion?
So move, Amanda.
Second?
Mike,
Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion that the Board of Education be authorized to set an annual meeting date for 2021. Do we have that date
You're gonna be setting that date.
at our
I
board meeting?
authorize the Board of Education. be
To set
authorized
that
to
date.
Set that date.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Typically the third Monday of September.
Right after county fair.
All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other business? Thank you, Lloyd.
Move to adjourn.
I move to. Move to adjourn.